Hi, I'm Tom, and I transformed myself from average Joe into a wealthy young entrepreneur using the exact money-making script you see below. Whilst I'm no Bill Gates, I still easily generate thousands of dollars every month on virtual autopilot. I simply let my PC run and deal with the hard work whilst I indulge in 5-star vacations and gorge on the finest food the town has to offer. That's what life's all about, right? You could just skip this video and download my money-making secret right away, but that would be premature and hasty, and you would underestimate and ultimately not be able to harness the power of what I am giving to you here. But if you care to hear the whole story and understand why this is a true game changer and why I am basically giving it away, stay 5 minutes and listen. It will make all the difference between a download or really understanding what powerful tool you are getting to set yourself free from the 9-to-5 grind. Because the download won't make you wealthy. The knowledge on how to best put it to use will. Knowledge, in fact, is pure power. So stay 5 minutes, listen to my story, and get ready to be amazed because we are doing something revolutionary, you and I. So, here it goes. It's not like I was busking for change before I made this miraculous discovery. In fact, I received extremely good grades in high school. To be honest, I was just a flat-out nerd. I mean, stereotypical nerd, like the type you'd see on The Big Bang Theory. Unfortunately, being a nerd didn't have the cool, quirky image it does in the 21st century. Whilst the other kids played tag after school and made out with their girlfriends, I played all on my own, caught up in a digital world on the school's PC, falling in love with pixels and coding. I'll never forget my first love. The first machine I used back then was a 286 with 25 megahertz. Some of you may just be old enough to remember those ancient instruments. By the time I graduated from university, I passed with summa cum laude, which at the time was maximum honors, in informatics. I'd already saved a few $1,000s from some side projects I worked on at home. Renting a suave bachelor's apartment right in the heart of the city did wonders for my love life. But that's another story. From these side projects, I was able to generate interest from local firms and secure a few part-time jobs, helping code and design web projects for several major corporate players in Austria. If you were expecting some traditional, I lived the American dream, rags to riches story, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you right now. I knew from the very moment, robots claiming to trade using nanotechnology and neural networks, that I had the skill set to really capitalize on these innovative and relatively unexplored opportunities. Just to cleanse my inner nerd, I have to put it out there that none of these cheaply assembled, rehashed quote-unquote scripts are worth the term robot, never mind being titled as artificial intelligence. It's amazing how a few lines of basic code can lure you into thinking you're buying into some sophisticated software of tomorrow. The God's honest truth behind these so-called miracle robots is they are just a few basic indicators thrown together and are going to have very little accuracy in predicting market direction, if any at all. They've just been jumbled together without an ounce of heart or passion and will fall apart just as easily as they've been thrown together. Within a few months, maybe even weeks or days, they will fail. That's not even the best part. The icing on the cake is that they'll charge anywhere from $50 to $5,000 just for putting them in a shiny wrapper and giving them names like Pips Thief 3000 or Auto Cash Collector Bot. It's an absolute joke. Even with my programming background and a basic understanding of online marketing, I was still a sucker for a few of the fancier looking bots online. Needless to say, I was quickly brought crashing back down to reality when I realized it was all junk. Naturally, when I bought them, I was going to take a peek inside to see how smart the mechanics really were. They're protected, of course, but I'm a purist, so I had to strip it back and see behind the protection for myself. Some of them were so basic, you'd be better off calculating trend patterns on an abacus. With all the resources I needed at my fingertips, I went to work. The program language was like my mother tongue by now. It was time to finally create a script that held the capacity of delivering money into my bank account quicker than I could spend it. Or even worse, quicker than the government could take it. I can't deny the truth. I'm worried and nervous about what the future holds. The crisis was just the beginning. All countries, especially here in Europe, have bigger debts than you could imagine. The collapse of Greece was a mere starting gun in a continental race to bankruptcy. Spain, Italy, Slovenia are all drowning in debt, with no life raft in sight. In Italy, the crisis is so bad, if you want to purchase something for more than $1,000, you need a bank account the government can stick their noses in to inspect. Seriously. Raiding Cyprus, the offshore mecca, seriously damaged the small guys. Meanwhile, the big oligarch Russians already had a heads up, front the inside, and siphon their money out before the little guys hit it. You see, we, the average Joe middle-class citizens, will be hurt most and hit the hardest as we are stuck in the crossfire between governments and wealthy tax evaders. Governments worldwide are in desperate need of additional funds to fill the leaks they've let out over recent decades, whilst tax evaders, the mafia, the Russian mob, and huge corporations are always a step ahead thanks to their inside sources. Those big busts you hear about in the newspapers, the millions of dollars that spring up out of nowhere and are claimed as big successes, pfft, that's the government forcing the media into glorifying a few extra bucks into some crisis war-winning effort. Sorry to break your hopes, but you should know things are continually getting worse. You've got to read between the lines to stand a chance here. When was the last time you heard anything good? Something that actually provided a rise in the quality of your nation's salaries, improved